In the middle of the Pacific, just off the shores of Honolulu, there's a small tattoo shop that helped shape the identity of American tattooing. During World War II, thousands of sailors and soldiers poured into Oahu before being shipped off to the front lines. Many of them left with a piece of home, courage, or a memory tattooed into their skin. This is one of the most important tattoo shops in the world at that time. Known for their bold, iconic style we call American traditional. At the center of it all stood sailor Jerry Collins, a Navy veteran and master craftsman whose precise lines, bold colors, and iconic designs became the visual language of the military generation. After Jerry's passing, his protege, Mike Rollo Malone, kept the machines running, preserving the old ways while pushing the craft forward under the name China Sea. Today, that same legendary shop, Old Ironside Tattoo, stands as one of the last living links to tattooing's golden era, and the torch has now been passed to Hari Seda, who continues the legacy in the very room where tattoo history was written. In this interview, we sit down with Hari to talk about carrying on Sailor Jerry's legacy, the untold stories of the shop that inked America's bravest, and how Old Ironside Tattoo remains sacred ground for the culture of tattooing. Thanks for hanging out with us today, man, and spending time with us. Man. It's an honor to be here at this legendary shop. We want to get into how you became the owner of the shop. But before we do that, I want to talk to you about your career. You started out in New York City, doing your own thing, and then you were brought on by who?
Yeah, I started out on my own. You know, back in those days, it was still illegal. So it's kind of hard to get a proper apprenticeship, you know, because everybody worked out of the private studios. And if I wanted to work in a shop or get an apprentice at a shop, I probably would have to travel long and
right.
You know, that the whole commute thing wasn't going to work for me. And New York is the kind of city that, you know, if you don't, you know, if you're not working, you're not going to survive, you know what I mean?
Right.
So basically started out on my own, and then I started getting tattooed a lot by Sean Vasquez, and then Sean Vasquez he gave me a lot of the ABCs, and then afterwards I would, whoever I get tattooed by, I'd always ask questions and pick a little something here and there, and kind of work my way up that way, up until like it became legal, like in 97 or 98, I believe. And once it became legal, then there was shops in every corner in New York. So, but I was lucky enough to land with a job at Tattoo Scene in the Bronx. Once I started working there, then I started gaining a lot of knowledge about tattooing. I just kind of totally changed the whole thing.
So yeah, you know what, you had your own thing, you started, but you wound up getting brought up and taught the right way about doing stuff, correcting maybe some errors.
It's like everything in life, you trial and error. Though, like I did, thank God. I want to say, like, maybe I messed up a little tattoo here and there at the very beginning.
Right.
But I was able to like fix it once I got better. So it wasn't. So honestly, I don't think it was like I did such a bad mess up. You know what I mean? So being able to like go back to it and then fix it up, it gave me a little bit more peace of mind.
Gotcha.
So,
and then so you were Scene?
Yeah, I started working at Scene, and then I learned a lot while working there.
Right. And then you said, we spoke earlier and you talked about going to Puerto Rico.
Short after that, I hooked up with this girl, and I ended up moving to Puerto Rico, and short after that we had a kid, and so I stayed in Puerto Rico, and so I worked at a shop. It was like a biker shop in Puerto Rico called Storm Riders, and I worked there for like maybe about a year or two before then I opened up my own shop. It was called Senzala. I operated the shop for like maybe about 4 years, and then I sold the shop to a guy that was working with me, Marco, and I decided to just reopen in a different area.
Okay.
And so I did, and then I remained in that area until the shop is still there until today.
Right.
So it's gonna next year it'll be 25 years.
Oh wow.
Where the shop is.
And then how did you wind up coming to Hawaii?
My son wasn't living in Puerto Rico. You know, his mother and I had split up, and she remarried, Canadian guy.
Okay.
Moved out. By the time I was like a little tired of being in Puerto Rico already, I kind of wanted a change. I wanted to make a move somewhere. So I came to visit a friend here in Hawaii, and that's what kind of did it for me. I was like, I could see myself in Hawaii, you know.
It's easy to see.
Yeah. And the cool thing is, Hawaii, especially Honolulu, has the city part and it has the nature side of it, which is like kind of like how I grew up, because I was born in New York, grew up in New York, but my family was from Puerto Rico, so we go to Puerto Rico like every year, and then when I was 8 years old, we ended up moving to Puerto Rico.
Okay.
And then I spent about another 8 years out there, and then at 16 is when I moved back to New York. So when I came here to Hawaii, to Honolulu, it was kind of like having the best
of both
worlds, in one place. So I went back to Puerto Rico, was trying to figure out what to do with the shop, and I was actually going to close it down, but then, a good friend of mine had been tattooing already for almost 10 years. He had moved to Florida, but he wanted to move back to Puerto Rico around the same time I wanted to move to Hawaii. So, I gave him the keys to the shop, keys to my car, my apartment, everything. It's like, here, this is all yours. Take care of it.
Yeah, right.
I mean, I kept the shop is still mine, but a few years later, like about 5 years later, then I told him if everything went well, if he did a good job, that I would make him my partner.
Okay.
And so I did,
Right.
And yeah, he became my partner for a few years, and then unfortunately he passed away not too long ago. So now I'm like not sure what I'm gonna do with the shop at the moment, but yeah.
And then as far as here though, you were tattooing in shops here?
So when I came here, I was working at 808 Tattoo. There's a shop on the other side of the city. It's called in Kaneohe. I was pretty happy working there. It was, everything was. We were pretty busy. We were tattooing more Marines actually, because that shop is actually closer to the Marine base.
Right.
And so I was working at that shop for maybe about a year, and then I ran into a friend of mine here, Chris Danley. One day we're just having a drink around the neighborhood down in Hotel Street, and he just surprised me and told me he bought the Sailor Jerry shop, and I was like, wow. I didn't quite believe him at the moment. I was like, eh. And then he's like, he pops out the key and he's like, look, I got the key right here. I'm like, dude, for real? So then I decided to come and work with him.
Okay.
Yeah, we got the shop up and going. I mean, we had to put in a lot of work to the shop because, it was...
Yeah, well, I'm going to get into that.
Oh, yeah.
So I don't think... I think there's a lot of people out there that just think it was just like a trade-off, handoff, and that's not the case.
No.
After you and I talked today, and you kind of blew my mind, I was under the impression it went from Jerry to Rollo with the China Sea to, Chris,
right?
And it was a tattoo shop, but that's not the case.
No, that's not the case. No, that's not the case.
Yeah, so let's get into that a little bit.
So, I guess apparently there was a piercer guy that took over the shop, and he was basically living in here, and I don't think he was so aware of like the whole history of the shop, it makes sense. He was a piercer guy, I don't think tattooing wasn't his thing. So, I guess he started learning and figuring it out like once he was in the shop already, even though he was doing piercings, the demand for tattooing kept happening, so he tried to teach himself how to tattoo from what I understand.
Okay.
Don't think that went too well for him. I remember coming here, way before when he had it, and so the window was always blocked. You can only look in through the porthole. The door outside the porthole was painted all black. He painted blood dripping from like the porthole. When you look inside the shop, the whole shop was painted in black. The ceiling was painted in silver. He had a disco ball hanging in the middle. It's like, it's like it's like a rave like club or something.
Like completely disrespecting the history
Oh
of this
yeah,
place.
dude, this guy had no idea. From what Chris told me, he just ran into the guy one day at a bar and just like approached him about buying the shop from him. And so I think Chris just made him an offer right there and then, and the guy just went for it, and then that's how we obtained it. Yeah.
Okay. And then at that point, then you brought it back to the life of what it looks like.
Yeah, it took about a year to put this little shop together and like bring it back to life, you know, because there was so much to it. I mean, just to get rid of that black paint on the wall, it was like, dude, we you know, we had to like paint over it so many times, and the ceiling also, and then it's like all these grooves, and yeah, it was quite a bit of work.
And then at that point, you guys didn't inherit any flash other than 2 pieces that are hanging
There was only 2 sheets of Mike Malone flash left. I don't know how he got it, honestly, but you know, he
could have found it in a box upstairs.
Yeah, but this is how like you know, like he wasn't aware of like the whole tattoo history, you know,
right,
of what was going on here, you know, because like he didn't care about leaving those sheets either, you know.
Yeah.
Somebody else would have been like, no, I'm taking this. You know?
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, the history here is unreal, and you know, I think most people that are into tattoo history, they realize the jumping off point of this shop.
Yeah.
And now you get to carry on that tradition.
Yeah.
And now you were saying that your son is starting a tattoo, so it's going to get carried on to him as well.
Hopefully, yeah.
Hopefully.
That's the plan. Yeah, he's been, you know, he's been doing his apprenticeship for about 1.5 years, you know. He's so far, knock on wood, everything good. So
I think that in my mind, I envisioned this shop being bigger than it is. It is a very small shop, super cool shop. Thanks. But now, when I've heard the tales of Jerry having a line down the block of guys waiting to get tattooed.
Yeah.
It makes so much sense now.
Oh, yeah.
Because maybe could get 4 or 5 guys in the lobby.
Right.
A couple guys in here.
Yeah.
So it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. I mean, the reception area was way bigger than what it is right now, you know.
Oh, okay.
So we just made it like this. We wanted to make it more functional to be able to have more artists in here also.
Right.
You know. And plus, you know, back when Jerry was tattooing, it was also like the middle of World War II era, so there was so many sailors coming through.
Paydays must have been insane.
Yeah, so.
And that was one of the things walking around in this neighborhood. You could almost envision what it would have been like because of the way it's set up with all the different bars and restaurants and stuff like that. It still has that feel to it.
Yeah, totally. Even the shop, when we got the shop, even though it was all painted black and silver, you could still sense a lot of that energy, you know?
If these walls could talk.
You're right.
Yeah.
And you know, when we got the shop all together, it just kind of came together on its own, you know. It was just like this feel of like this good energy of tattooing. It was sort of magical, you know, in a way, inspiring, you know.
And then unfortunately your partner passed.
Chris ended up passing away a year after we got the shop, which is crazy, you know. It was very unexpected. Another thing was you know, when I came here, my intention wasn't to own a shop either. I just wanted to work for somebody else and not have to deal with, you know, the pressure of a shop. So when Chris passed away, it all kind of fell in my lap. I mean, I still could have said no, but I mean, since we had put in all this time and effort into it, I just felt compelled to keep it going, you know, and keep the legacy going.
And that's the thing, man, is it is a legacy.
Yes.
And, you know, how does that feel for you to be honored enough to carry that tradition? Like, you know what I mean?
Oh, I told you, at the moment when it happened, I was so nervous. Yeah. I was like, what am I going to do now? Like, what are people going to say? Like, I'm a nobody here in the tattoo world. Like, everybody's going to think, like, who the hell is this guy running like Jerry's shop? You know, I was so nervous. But you know what? Everything just came together, and everything just like everything started being easy.
Yeah.
After all, I was like very nervous, and then at the end of it all, it was like, it was a blessing more than
I'm a firm believer, man, of
Yeah.
things happen for a reason.
right.
For whatever the reason is, you were meant to be here.
Yeah.
And you own up to it now.
Right.
And you embrace it, and you still feel as though history's important. You keep projecting the history of it, and that to me, that means a lot. We're in a day and age where the history isn't in the forefront as much as it should be,
Right.
and you're gonna keep carrying that torch.
Right. Yeah. Well, that's the plan. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the plan.
I mean, you even with the flash that you have in here, you're already doing it.
Right.
The tattoos that you're putting out here.
Yeah.
I mean, I saw you, knock out 2, basically World War II era tattoos
Yeah.
today.
And that's a normal day here.
On a sailor.
That's a regular day. Yeah. That's a regular day here.
Yeah.
I think a lot of that hasn't changed. We still, like, our major clientele is still the Navy, and besides that, we tattoo. I mean, a lot of other military guys. We do. We do quite a bit of tourists also. Because of the Sailor Jerry room, it's made it more popular also. So yeah, we got all kinds of people now come through, and it's kind of like the place where they want to go and get a little souvenir tattoo if they come to Hawaii.
Yeah.
At least for the tourists,
right?
At least the Navy still the cool thing about the Navy guys or the military guys is that they all want to get cool tattoos, and they all love Jerry's work, and I mean, not only that, but like most of the flash on the walls is all my original stuff, like they'll pick stuff off the wall, so it's really like it's really motivating, and it's a blessing, dude.
Yeah, for sure,
it's a blessing.
for sure. This shop's been here since 1960. How do you see this changing going forward? Or if it's going to change at all?
I mean, of course, you change a little bit because you have to change. You have to keep up with times no matter what. I think of course, like the difference between now and then is the internet.
Right.
Which is, it's brought a lot of good things and a lot of bad things, I think, no matter what, it's about keeping up with the times,
Yeah.
And so, and no matter what, we'll keep up with the times, but always, being appreciative of what was done here before, of the legacy and
right,
and the old memories, and yeah. So
I mean, I got to go out to Jerry's grave today. And,
okay. I believe they changed his widow passed.
Yeah. So
Yeah, she passed. So now I think
she's now included.
Yeah.
And it made me stop and think for a second today, though, because there were people there that were obviously there to see, maybe family members or whatever that had passed, because it is a military cemetery.
Right.
Made me stop for a brief second to think how many people realize how important that one headstone is in that whole cemetery.
And believe me, they know it. Yeah, we hear it all the time. People that I've met guys that do maintenance work up there, and and they're like, man, Sailor Jerry's grave is the most visited grave in that cemetery. And
that makes my heart feel good.
Yeah, it is. And I had no idea until like one time. This is before, when it was only Jerry's stone on it, right? You look around the stone, and there you find pieces of coils, or like capacitors, or like springs, or like needles. Like, people just come and will leave like little tattoos, like
nice
tattoo stuff on it.
Yeah.
And a lot, when you look at him, it's like a lot of this stuff is like rotting away. This is stuff that that's been there for a long time. So,
well, you know what, man? I think that your heart's in it for the history, and I think that would make him happy, make him proud.
Yeah.
I think he would have been highly upset that the dude was doing a rave disco piercer job in here. But now,
yeah, he's probably like rolling in his grave. Huh?
Yeah. Now it's
yeah.
It kind of looks how I kind of envisioned it, just smaller.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'll do my best at
Nah, you do
what I can. I mean, I think at the beginning I was so nervous because I was like, how am I supposed to do things with this shop? But then, after spending time here, like as time went by, it just started being my thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It just started. I was like, wait a minute, this is not. I mean, yeah, of course, I'm keeping Jerry's legacy going, and China sees, but this is my chapter now.
Right. You got to make
so
it your own.
This is so it's my thing. So then I guess once I realized, I started feeling a little bit more comfortable. And
It's like musicians that cover other musicians' music and they put their own little touch to it. That's what you're doing to this.
right.
There you go.
Yeah.
Hey, man,
So
I appreciate you spending time with me
thank
today.
you, man.
It was awesome. An honor to be here.
Hey, it was great meeting you.
Yeah, man. I
Yeah.
mean, I'm super honored that you were able to even sit down with me, dude. And,
Oh, yeah.
and I got to finally see this shop, so
Glad you made it here, man.
thank you, man. I hope you all enjoyed the episode. If you haven't looked it up yet, check it out on Instagram. What's the Instagram?
Old Ironside Tattoo
There you go.
on Instagram.
On Instagram.
Yeah, I was getting
And then
my email address.
Your
right away.
personal Instagram?
My personal Instagram, Hari Seda Tattooer.
There you go.
Yeah.
So check out the work, check out the shop. If you're ever in Hawaii, make sure you stop by and say hello. Thanks for hanging out with us.